Listen closely. There are moments in life when the air around you feels different, when something inside you senses that a door is opening. Chosen one, this is one of those moments. I am Shi Heng Yi. And before we begin, understand this. The message you are about to hear is not about force, not about muscle, not about perfection. It is about awakening the part of you that has been silent for too long. The Shaolin path is not a legend carved into old temple walls. It is a living practice, shaped by breath, awareness, and the discipline to face yourself without turning away. In this video, you will learn why true power begins long before any physical action is taken. You will discover the Shaolin teaching that intention Yi is stronger than movement, and how internal training Neigong and breathwork forms the hidden foundation of all mastery. I will guide you through lesser-known principles that monks guard quietly, how stillness sharpens perception, how humility protects your energy, and how a simple shift in awareness can redirect the course of your entire path. Stay with me until the end, because each principle builds on the next. By the final moment, you will understand why the journey of self-mastery is not only real, but already unfolding within you. This message will challenge your thoughts, confront your habits, and open a doorway to a truth many never reach. Chosen one, welcome to the space where discipline meets spirit, where ancient wisdom meets the life you are living right now. Welcome to Shaolin Soulfire. If you seek clarity, strength, and the courage to rise into your higher self, make sure you subscribe and walk this path with us. There is a moment in every warrior's journey when they realize the body is not the source of power, it is only the instrument. The real source lies within. Chosen one, in Shaolin we call this Yi, the mind, the intention that moves before the body ever does. When a monk steps into training, he does not begin with kicks or punches, he begins with clarity. The question is always the same. Where is your mind pointing? Because wherever your intention rests, your energy follows and your actions obey. I learned this as a young student in the temple courtyard. My master once asked me to strike a wooden post. I hit it with all the strength I had, and he shook his head. Then he told me, do it again, but first decide the purpose of the strike. I breathed, centered, and allowed my intention to form before the movement. The sound of the impact changed. The feeling changed. The force was deeper, cleaner, more precise. That day I understood the body is only the echo of the mind. Shaolin training is built on this truth. Every stance teaches grounding of thought. Every breath teaches direction of energy. Every movement teaches presence. When your focus wavers, your strength leaks. When your mind is scattered, your actions become empty. But when your attention gathers into one point, even the simplest movement becomes powerful. This is why monks spend years in meditation before mastering technique. Mental focus is not an accessory, it is the foundation. Through it, the body learns discipline, endurance, and harmony. Without it, strength becomes noise. When body and mind act as one, you move with purpose instead of impulse. You react without hesitation. You create without force. This unity is not just a skill, it is a state of being. And once you reach it, every step you take becomes an expression of your inner truth. There is a quiet law that governs every true martial path. A law older than techniques, older than temples, older than forms. The Shaolin call it Buddhi, the virtue that shapes the warrior's heart long before the warrior shapes his fists. White Day is built on 5 pillars: humility, respect, righteousness, trust, and loyalty. These are not decorations or ideals written on scrolls, they are the inner structure of a life lived with integrity. Without them, even the strongest fighter becomes fragile. With them, even the gentlest person carries unshakable strength. In the old days, young disciples were tested not by how high they could kick, but by how deeply they could bow. A student who trained only to conquer was turned away. A student who trained to understand, to serve, to grow, that one was welcomed. Skill can be taught quickly. Virtue must be cultivated daily, patiently, like tending a flame in the wind. One master used to say, if your hands are strong and your heart is weak, you are already defeated. He believed that martial skill without virtue becomes dangerous, like a blade without a sheath. True training is meant to protect. to create safety where chaos once lived, to lift others rather than stand above them. Every movement carries intention, and that intention must be clean. When a warrior embodies Wade, their presence changes. They no longer seek to impress or dominate. Their confidence becomes quiet, grounded, real. They learn that true power is not in striking, but in choosing not to strike. Not in defeating others, but in overcoming their own impulses, pride, and anger. Compassion becomes their guide. Strength becomes their service, and through this balance, they discover that the greatest victory is mastering the heart that beats beneath every action. There is a thread that runs through all Shaolin teachings, subtle yet unmistakable. It comes from the heart of Buddhist philosophy, the Eightfold Path. To many, it appears like an ancient list of virtues, but within the monastery, it is lived, breathed, and practiced every single day. The path begins with right intention. Before a monk moves, speaks, or trains, he asks himself, why am I doing this? Not out of guilt or pressure, but to align his actions with clarity instead of impulse. Intention shapes the energy behind every step. Then comes right mindfulness, the discipline of being fully present. A monk sweeping the courtyard is not simply cleaning. He is practicing awareness, feeling each movement, hearing each breath, noticing the rise and fall of thought. Through this, even simple tasks become training grounds for the mind. Right concentration follows naturally. In meditation halls, monks sit for hours, not to escape the world, but to sharpen their focus until it becomes unshakable. This concentration is the same power they bring into combat, into teaching, into daily life. A focused mind is a steady mind. Other aspects of the path, right action, right speech, right livelihood, shape how a practitioner moves through the world. These teachings remind them that mastery is not defined by ability alone, but by how that ability affects others. A technique performed without ethical grounding is incomplete. In Shaolin life, this path is not philosophy on a page. It shows up in how a monk greets a stranger, how he handles conflict, how he chooses discipline over ease, silence over reaction. The Eightfold Path becomes a quiet guide, helping him navigate choices with wisdom instead of habit. Through this daily practice, the path turns from instruction into transformation, shaping both character and destiny. There is a silence within the Shaolin tradition that speaks louder than any movement. It comes from Chen meditation, the art of sitting with the mind until it becomes clear as still water. In the temple, monks learn early that before the body can move with precision, the mind must learn to rest without drifting. This stillness is not the absence of thought. It is the ability to observe thoughts without being pulled by them. A monk sits on the stone floor at dawn, breathing slowly, allowing the noise within to settle. As the mind grows quiet, awareness sharpens, sounds become clearer, senses more awake, perception more honest. This is the beginning of presence. From this presence grows a deeper state called wuxin, no-mindedness. It is not emptiness in the dull sense. It is freedom from the ego that rushes to judge, to compare, to react. In wuxin, the practitioner moves without hesitation because nothing inside is arguing, doubting, or resisting. There is only direct, effortless response. One story tells of a young monk training in the courtyard. His master struck at him suddenly with a branch. The monk blocked it perfectly, without thinking. "Good," the master said. "Your mind was not in the way." In that moment, the monk understood that clarity is faster than reaction, and presence is stronger than force. Stillness in Shaolin is never passive. It is a form of deep alertness, where the senses are open and the mind is steady. It teaches the practitioner to recognize danger early, to see opportunities clearly, to act with purpose rather than impulse. Through stillness, fear loses its grip. Through presence, distractions lose their power. This is the heart of Chen practice. A mind that rests like calm water, yet reacts like lightning when the moment calls. Internal strength in the Shaolin tradition does not begin with muscle or speed. It begins in places no one else can see. This inner training is known as Neigong, the quiet cultivation of strength through breath, awareness, and the disciplined gathering of energy within. In the early mornings before the sun reaches the temple roofs, monks practice Neigong in absolute silence. The breath becomes the teacher. Slow inhalations draw energy inward. Steady exhalations release tension and scattered thoughts. Over time, the body becomes rooted, the breath becomes powerful, and a deep stability grows from the inside out. This strength cannot be shaken by fear, exhaustion, or uncertainty. From Neigong flows Qigong, the art of refining and guiding Qi, the life force that animates every living being. Through gentle circular movements and intentional breathing, Qigong links mind, body, and spirit into a single rhythm. Each gesture circulates energy, loosening blockages, restoring flow, and sharpening sensitivity. What seems simple from the outside often requires profound internal focus. Old masters used to say, "External force breaks, internal force endures." They understood that outward strength can be impressive, but it is limited. Muscles tire, speed fades. But inner power built through consistent practice grows quieter, deeper, more reliable. It supports every technique, every decision, every challenge. One story tells of a monk who appeared fragile, yet could withstand strikes that would overwhelm stronger fighters. His secret was not hidden techniques or superior physique. It was years of Neigong and Qigong that fortified his core and steadied his mind. His power came from within, rising like a silent tide. Internal cultivation teaches that true mastery begins where the eyes cannot see. When the inner world is strong, the outer world follows. Self-mastery in the Shaolin tradition is not something gained in a single moment of insight. It is shaped slowly, deliberately, through daily ritual. Each discipline, Kung Fu, meditation, Qigong, and the guiding philosophies of Buddhism, Taoism, and Confucianism, acts like a thread woven into the fabric of one's character. Kung Fu trains the body to endure, adapt, and move with precision. But beneath every strike and stance lies something deeper, the strengthening of willpower. A practitioner learns commitment by showing up again and again, even when the body aches or the mind resists. Every repetition becomes a lesson in persistence. Meditation is the counterbalance. It teaches calm, inner spaciousness, and the ability to return to stillness no matter what storms arise. Through quiet sitting, the mind becomes clearer, less reactive, more discerning. Thoughts lose their power to pull one off center. Qigong bridges the two, harmonizing energy so the body and mind work together instead of in conflict. It refines sensitivity, helping the practitioner sense imbalance before it grows, fatigue before it overwhelms, and emotional shifts before they take hold. This awareness becomes a powerful form of preventative mastery. The ancient philosophies are the compass. Buddhism teaches compassion and right intention. Taoism teaches harmony with nature and the value of effortless flow. Confucianism teaches responsibility, discipline, and the importance of virtue in daily conduct. Together they shape character from the inside out. Shaolin life reminds us that mastery is never a trophy or a title. It is a posture of continuous refinement. Some days progress feels bold. Other days it is subtle, almost invisible. But each ritual, every stretch, breath, bow, and moment of awareness adds another layer of depth. Self-mastery becomes not a destination but a way of living that transforms everything it touches. There is a framework that guides those who seek true inner strength, a structure both simple and profound, the 5 pillars of the Shaolin spirit. These pillars are not rules imposed from outside, but qualities cultivated from within, qualities that shape thought, action, and character. The first pillar, self-awareness, begins with noticing the movements of the mind and heart without judgment. A practitioner sitting in meditation observes anger rise, desire stir, or fear tremble, yet does not react impulsively. This awareness allows clarity to grow, like a still pond reflecting the sky. Self-discipline is the second pillar. It is the quiet force that guides action when motivation fades. It is waking before sunrise, practicing when fatigue whispers to stop, maintaining focus when distractions abound. Discipline builds resilience, transforming effort into strength that cannot be shaken. The third pillar, self-responsibility, teaches that no one else carries the weight of your choices. Each action, each word, each thought shapes the path ahead. A student may stumble, but by embracing responsibility, they turn mistakes into lessons rather than excuses. Self-reflection comes next. It is the practice of looking inward at the end of each day, asking honestly where one succeeded, where one fell short, and how the mind and heart moved through challenges. Reflection sharpens insight, revealing patterns that repetition alone cannot. Finally, self-mastery is the culmination. It is not control over others, but mastery over the self, the ability to act with integrity, presence, and aligned purpose. It is living each moment with awareness, courage, and calm, no longer ruled by impulse or fear. These pillars do not exist in isolation. Together they form a daily compass. They guide the practitioner through training, through meditation, through choices large and small. They remind us that transformation is not sudden, but built steadily, one conscious step at a time. Through the Shaolin spirit, the journey of self-mastery becomes visible, tangible, and real. There is a rhythm to mastery, a pulse that moves between effort and ease. In Shaolin life, discipline alone does not create strength, neither does rest alone. True self-mastery requires both, balanced like yin and yang, like the steady beat of the heart. Monks rise before dawn, practicing forms, meditation, and qigong with unwavering focus. Every movement, every breath, every stance is intentional. Yet even in the midst of this rigor, the masters teach that rest is essential. Without it, the body grows tense, the mind dulls, and the spirit becomes brittle. Mindful rest is not idleness. It is a deliberate return to calm, a time to let the energy cultivated through training flow and settle. A warrior who sleeps poorly or pushes endlessly will discover limits that are not physical but internal: frustration, impatience, imbalance. In contrast, those who honor periods of quiet reflection and recovery emerge stronger, more grounded, more aware. One story speaks of a monk who spent long hours mastering a particularly difficult form. Day after day he struggled, repeating mistakes and growing frustrated. His master told him simply, "Step back, breathe, let the form settle in you like water in a jar. Only then can it move freely." He rested, returned the next day, and the form flowed effortlessly. Discipline and rest are not opposites, they are partners. The structure of daily routine strengthens willpower, focus, and skill. The space of rest restores clarity, resilience, and insight. Together, they create a cycle of growth where effort is refined and energy preserved. Understanding this balance teaches a subtle but powerful truth. Rest is never weakness. It is preparation. It is integration. And it is as vital to mastery as the hardest strike or the longest meditation. In this harmony, the practitioner discovers strength that endures. There is a power that speaks without words, a presence that commands without noise. In Shaolin teachings, this is called silent power, the strength that comes not from outward force but from clarity, awareness, and inner authority. It is steady, unshakable, and unseen until it moves. A monk practicing in the courtyard does not boast of his skill. His movements are precise, calm, and deliberate. Observers may not notice the depth of his strength at first, but it is undeniable. Silent power is like this. It does not seek attention, yet its influence shapes everything around it. In the modern world, this principle carries profound lessons for leadership. Decisions made with presence rather than haste, with calm rather than ego, create stability and inspire trust. A leader who acts from silent power does not need to raise their voice to be heard. Their clarity and consistency draw others naturally toward them. One story tells of a master guiding his students through a crisis in the monastery. While others panicked, he moved quietly, observing, adjusting, and guiding with gentle authority. By the time his presence was noticed, the chaos had already settled. Leadership was not in commanding, but in embodying control, focus, and awareness. Silent power grows from self-mastery. It is nurtured by discipline, reflection, and consistent practice of inner cultivation. Anger, pride, and reaction lose their grip when the mind is steady. Confidence is quiet. Influence is subtle, and guidance comes through example rather than speech. True influence rarely shouts. It moves like water, patient, adaptable, unstoppable. Those who cultivate silent power understand that the greatest authority comes from within, from mastery over one's own thoughts, emotions, and actions. In this way, Shaolin wisdom becomes a guide not only for the warrior, but for anyone seeking resilient, meaningful leadership in a world that often mistakes noise for strength. There are battles that cannot be fought with fists or technique. They are quiet, relentless, and invisible. Shaolin wisdom calls these the inner obstacles, reflections of what Buddhist teachings name the five hindrances: greed, anger, restlessness, doubt, and sloth. Each of these can cloud the mind, disrupt focus, and weaken the spirit, no matter how skilled the body may be. A young monk once trained tirelessly, yet found himself frustrated and distracted. He could not hold a stance, his strikes lacked precision, and his mind constantly wandered. His master explained, "The enemy is not outside the walls, it is within. Observe it, do not chase it, and it will lose its grip." This is the first lesson of facing inner obstacles. Awareness. Awareness allows the practitioner to see greed not as desire alone, but as attachment. Restlessness is recognized not as energy, but as a mind untethered. Doubt is understood not as failure, but as hesitation before insight. Each hindrance, once noticed, becomes an opportunity for practice. Discipline provides the path forward. By returning to breath, form, and mindful action, the mind gradually steadies. Through repeated attention and patient effort, the obstacles no longer control behavior. Anger becomes discernment. Restlessness becomes focused energy. Doubt becomes careful observation. In Shaolin life, self-mastery is measured not by perfection, but by transformation. Each inner battle is a teacher, each struggle becomes a step toward clarity, resilience, and wisdom. The student learns that strength is not merely outward skill, but the ability to face and integrate every shadow within. Through this practice, the five hindrances lose their power, and the inner world becomes a field of growth. What once blocked the path now becomes the path itself, guiding the practitioner toward deeper awareness, greater calm, and enduring mastery. The path of the Shaolin is not measured by victories over others, but by victories over oneself. Every step, every breath, every mindful choice brings you closer to harmony between body, mind, and spirit. By embracing these teachings, uniting intention with action, cultivating discipline and reflection, honoring rest as much as effort, you begin to awaken a power that is quiet, steady, and transformative. This is not a fleeting strength or a skill to show. It is a way of being. Each day becomes an opportunity to practice awareness, to act with virtue, and to move through life with clarity and calm. The inner work you commit to shapes how you respond, how you lead, and how you carry yourself in every moment. Remember, true mastery is not about dominating the world around you. It is about mastering your thoughts, your habits, your energy, and your heart. As you integrate these principles into daily life, you will notice subtle shifts. Decisions become clearer, challenges less intimidating, and your presence more grounded. If you carry even a fraction of this wisdom into your own path, the transformation is real. Change begins within, quietly, steadily, and profoundly. Thank you for walking this journey with us. If these insights resonate, join our community, subscribe to Shaolin Soulfire, and continue exploring the path of self-mastery, inner strength, and mindful living. Peace, presence, and clarity guide your way.